Welcome back. My name is Nat, and today I'm going to be talking about shadow work. So when I had my spiritual awakening and started realizing more of who I am, I started coming more and more across the concept of shadow work. Although I had read about the concept of the shadow and the shadow self, and it made perfect sense, at first I couldn't understand how to actually do the work. What we call the shadow self is formed through the process of socialization and what is called social conditioning. As children, our primary directive is survival. So when we feel that our survival is dependent upon our caregivers or society who don't approve of certain aspects of ourselves, what we do is disown and push away those aspects in order to be accepted and therefore have a better chance at survival. So for example, a little girl who watched her parents' shame and efficiency left and right and always told her that she has to be productive will push away the aspect of herself that wants to just take it easy and relax for a minute and be, why not, unproductive. So what the little girl will do is push away this aspect of herself, create a shadow which she will deny, disown, and reject. But those aspects never actually go away. What they do is they seek refuge in the subconscious mind. Shadow work is basically working with your unconscious mind. It's incredible how much of our own self we don't know, because certain aspects of ourselves are buried in it, and there is no way to access them. Therefore, we know absolutely nothing about them. Working with the subconscious mind is like groping your way around in a completely dark underwater cave with absolutely no idea what you're going to find in there. What we actually want to do is take a flashlight, dive into the cave, swim around, and shed light on any of the corners and any of the shadows lurking in those corners. And then we got to push them out into the conscious mind and integrate them into the totality of our being. We need to make the unconscious conscious, in other words. There are many different methods you can use for shadow work. One of them is following what triggers you. Your triggers are very reliable messengers of an issue that needs to be integrated. Let me give you an example. My mom calls and asks how I'm doing, and while I'm talking to her, she maybe tries to give me some advice or suggest something, and suddenly I'm so triggered that I just want to yell at her or even hang up the phone. I'm livid and I'm going to be mulling over this for hours and hours, possibly, without even knowing why. And then my anxiety will get triggered, and then it's just downhill from there. Did the action of my mother merit this reaction of mine? On the surface level, it didn't. So why does this happen? The answer is whenever we have a so-called unnecessary or overly dramatic or uncalled for reaction, there's always a shadow involved. And there's actually something in the subconscious mind that's begging to be floated up to the surface, be addressed, be integrated. So instead of walking it off, forgetting about it, glossing over it, what do? I follow the trail that the trigger or the emotion that has come up is showing me. If we merely mask the symptoms and go on with life as usual, then we're actually shortchanging ourselves. We're losing access to the crucial information that's trying to be communicated to us. What's important to understand is that every trigger is actually a gift from the universe, from source, from your higher self, name it what you will, because it's giving you an opportunity to integrate an aspect that has been disowned. The only mission of this trigger is to make you whole again. A trigger is actually a flag from your subconscious that there's trauma that needs to be addressed. Carl Jung said that anxiety and neurosis is really an attempt at self-cure. It is an attempt of the self-regulating psychic system to restore the balance, which is in no way different from the function of dreams, only it's more forceful and more drastic. So when you get triggered, the choice is between facing yourself, basically, and elevating your consciousness by uncovering what's hidden, or the other option is to just project it onto others and stay stuck. So what I urge you to do if you want to start uncovering aspects of yourself that you have disowned and suppressed, that are screaming for attention, that are screaming to be loved and validated, is to first of all start noticing your own patterns of behavior and your own triggers. Once you start asking why behind every hidden behavior or reaction, you'll begin noticing them more and more. A nice exercise you can do is to create a document on your phone, it's pretty easy, where you will note down daily what you judge in other people. If you set the intention, you're going to start noticing the inner dialogue that happens when you see something in the outside world that you don't like, in a person and someone. Keep it simple. Use a single word if this is easy for you. For example, it can be so-and-so is ungrateful, so you write down ungrateful. So-and-so is entitled, so you write down entitled. So is stingy, so you write that down. The reasoning behind this is what we judge in others is a projection of what we cannot accept in ourselves. We project onto others the aspects that we don't own or don't fully own. So when we judge someone, when someone annoys us, when someone rubs us the wrong way, we need to simply pause and ask ourselves, what is it about this person that annoys me? And then we need to go deep and realize how we're like that, or how we are suppressing or denying the specific aspects of ourselves. In other words, how are we entitled? How are we annoying? How are we stingy? Believe me, it's going to start making sense. So next time you experience a trigger, don't run away from it. Don't give yourself a numbing pill or whatever it is you do to forget about the issue and feel better. Don't drink. Don't just go on social media. Don't just veg out in front of Netflix. Give yourself the gift of sitting with the emotion and being completely present with it, unconditionally. Sink into the emotion and feel it in your body. Don't will it to go away. Where exactly in your body do you feel it? Do you feel it in your chest? Do you feel it in your shoulders? Maybe your neck? Where is the emotion? Try to describe it to yourself. Sense it out. Feel its texture. Emotions have a texture. See if there's a color ascribed to it. Maybe a taste, a specific taste. Maybe even a sound. Let the emotion show you whatever it needs to show you. Let it move through your body and accept it for what it is, unconditionally. Even doing this simple exercise will start the integration process, which doesn't always have to be conscious. Sometimes simply doing this is enough. You're going to find a great change in yourself. It's all going to start happening for you. If you want to take this one step further and you're up to the task, you can ask yourself, what occasion from your childhood, mostly ages 0 to 7, this emotion is bringing you to? Sometimes you'll get an immediate answer. You go straight to a specific memory. either through an image, or it will be even more direct than that. It will be something very specific that happened, right? But it's not always clear. Sometimes it will be very vague. You will feel the energetics of it. So don't get too technical with this part. Just allow it to float up, whatever it is that happened. What you're basically trying to do here is see what traumatized you in order for you to disown or suppress this particular aspect of yourself. Going through the experience again, this time validating this particular aspect, or even calling it back to be integrated into the totality of you, in other words, shining light on it, will reintegrate it. And if you feel like going even one step further than that, you can do some inner child work. What this means is essentially that while you're in the experience, you can reprogram the experience in a positive way. That is, you can recreate it in the way you would have liked it to have played out. And you can do all this in your imagination. Give the child, the inner child, yourself, your inner child self, what it needs. Validate its feelings. Meet its needs. Do whatever the child needs to be done. In order to help you with this process, I created a meditation, which I'm going to post very soon, that will put you in a hypnotic state where you can begin to shed light on your shadows. And also, you can begin reparenting yourself. What we call the inner child work is basically reparenting your inner child. So make sure you check back here to start the process. There's one last tip that I want to give you. There's a way to instantly integrate an aspect of yourself. If you uncover an aspect of yourself that is in the shadow, what you can do is own up to the specific aspect to someone whose opinion matters to you. Someone who you'd feel very ashamed if they found out this specific thing about you. I promise you, this is instant integration. You're gonna start feeling very, very different, like right away. This is it for this video, guys. Don't forget to hit like if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you like this content, we're gonna be posting more and more. So